All right. People know that you're supposed to segment. We get it. Conceptually, everyone is aligned that a smaller, more targeted send with a more focused message is going to be higher performing. However, most people then freeze. Like, where do I start? How do I even start to segment? They overthink it, and they end up doing nothing. So today we're going to talk about a quick analysis technique that can also be used for segmentation, and that's RFM. All right. If you haven't heard of RFM, it stands for recency, frequency, and monetization. It's a composite score where each customer is given a 3-digit score, one for frequency, one for recency, one for monetization. And so it's a pretty straightforward analysis, and it's pretty simple to do. And if you wait to the end of this video, actually you don't have to wait. Down in the comments, there is a link to a template. So if you are a Shopify brand, you can make a copy of that Google Sheet template. And literally all you have to do is export a CSV from Shopify and paste that data into the table where it tells you to, and the RFM analysis is done for you. It's your own private copy, so you're not sharing any data, and you'll be done with this in about 30 seconds. So let's talk about how to actually do an RFM analysis. The first thing you need to do is pick how many buckets you're going to divide your customers into. I recommend 4 or 5. If you do too many buckets, then you're making artificial nuance, right? Like, what is the difference between a 9 and a 10 for recency when you're looking at a short contained period of time? So I recommend 4 to 5, so quintiles, quartiles. You're going to pick a time range. We usually do 12 months. Anything much beyond 12 months is usually not very helpful. Maybe it helps you understand a little bit more about the difference in someone who became a customer 4 years ago versus now in terms of total revenue they drove. But it's going to artificially pull down your frequency or your recency metrics. And it's going to also change the comparison. Like, how could someone who you acquired 2 months ago even compare to someone you acquired 3 years ago if they bought twice a month or twice a year? So we'd make it a time-bound element to make it so we're looking at only the people who are really active and sort of addressable as a customer base. So again, we think 1 year is the best. If you need to stretch to 2 to feel better, okay. And then it's pretty simple from here. We need to get, for each customer, we need to have their count of total purchases. We need to have the sum of revenue from those purchases, and we need to have the date of the most recent purchase. Once you have those 3 criteria for each customer, you divide the data set and have it analyze into quartiles and quintiles or whatever number of buckets you chose, and assign a score to each customer. Then you mush all those numbers together, and so a person could end up with a score of 325 or 114. Now, there's a few things that I do want to flag that you should know about RFM. The first is that whereas, especially us at Wholesale Analytics, we are always talking about profit. And so for most analyses, we tell you to use profit, not revenue. For RFM, we're actually completely okay with you using just pure revenue per customer for that monetization number. And that's because, number 2, you should pair RFM with other analyses. RFM itself, in my opinion, is not that helpful of an analysis where suddenly you unlock all these insights and know exactly who to go after with what. It's descriptive, and it sort of tells you, buckets of people and kind of how similar they are. But what we want to do then is take those RFM scores and use other analyses to figure out what else is common to them, right? Are they regularly buying similar products? Is there some sort of, like, how does LTV correlate? And because different businesses will have the R, the F, or the M be a bigger driver into their LTV. And so if you just take RFM, it doesn't really tell you much about your business in particular. But by pairing it with something like an LTV analysis or the customer 3D that we do at Wholesale Analytics, you're then able to see which of these traits matters most and use that for your segmentation and also for automations. Number three, I kind of touched on this just a second ago, but RFM by itself isn't the best segmentation technique. We always want to do the least amount of work for the most amount of value, or to be the most specific. And how different is someone who's a 133 versus a 233, right? Same number of purchases, or kind of they're in the same bucket of purchases, same bucket of revenue. It's just a 1 or a 2. Are they in the worst quintile or second worst quintile for recency? Both of those were a pretty long time ago. And so you're going to end up wanting to group a bunch of these buckets together. But again, you shouldn't just do that off of the RFM numbers. You want to figure out the correlation to LTV, so you're bucketing the right groups together. And then the last bit is you really want to look for movement within RFM groups, right? And so it's less about the number 1, 2, or 3, but if you see someone moving up, that is positive momentum that you want to lean into. If you see someone moving down, then that, you want to launch some sort of intervention. And so again, once you correlate this with LTV and have an understanding of how each of these scores matters to you as a business, you can then set up these automations and you can start to use this for segmentation. Again, there is a template in the comments below. Make a copy. It's all yours. If there's anything more you'd like to see added to it, let me know, and we can certainly add to it and build it out or change it up. And otherwise, I hope this was helpful. RFM feels like a scary topic. It's actually one of the most approachable analyses you can do, and it's super quick. And again, if you're on Shopify, the template makes it so easy. Okay, go get them.